What's up, Cowboys Nation? The Dallas Cowboys slay the New York Giants on Sunday Night Football to open the season. They beat them 40-0. Let's talk about it.
Prescott, touchdown. Throw, look at middle, sack again by Parsons again. CeeDee Lamb, was he down? They say no for now, and he's into the end zone.
Holy crap, man. At one point, this game just became laughable. I couldn't believe what we were seeing. It was a sight to behold. Our Dallas Cowboys. I've been watching the Cowboys for 27 years, and I've never seen an opening statement like that on opening night. We're living in a rare time. And like I said, I'm going to get started on this post-game reaction video right off the bat. And if you're new here, like and subscribe for more Cowboys content. Follow me on all my social media. But we're living in a rare time. And like I said in my pregame prediction video, that this was going to be a continuation of the journey that had already been established by the previous seasons. And I'm going back to a couple of seasons ago where the Cowboys lost in the wild card against the 49ers. And I'm especially talking about last season where the Cowboys lost to the 49ers in the divisional round in San Francisco. The Cowboys have got some demons, man, and I feel bad for some teams that are standing in the way of what the Cowboys really want to accomplish this season. And unfortunately, the New York Giants had to be the first team in line to see that wrath. Talk about a game. 40-0. This is similar to the Minnesota Vikings game last season. We didn't see that until the later weeks. I think it was like past week 10. We're seeing this week 1. Goodness gracious, this defense establishing the tone, setting the tone from kickoff, and I always love it when we kick the ball off. And when we win that coin toss, you best believe we're going to defer because we're going to put the strength of this team first, and the strength of this team is the defense. And when talking about this defense, Micah Parsons. You hear that? You hear that? I'm hearing his name being called for Defensive Player of the Year because he was robbed last year, but this year, it's his. I'm sitting there watching this game like everyone else, and I can't tell you when I've seen a time. I'm 27 years old. I was born in 96, so what I'm about to say may not be relevant or relate to a lot of you older folks. But I can't remember in my time seeing a player so dominant, so fast, so finesse when it comes to the game of football. He makes it look easy. The way his speed is when he comes off the ball, the way his strength, his power, the ability to throw linemen off balance and get to the quarterback, his closing speed. I've never seen anything else like it. In my time, I could compare it to Ray Lewis. And I know some of you older folks will probably say, well, hey, son, you forgot about Lawrence Taylor. Well, I wasn't around that time. But Micah Parsons is a special player. And I know I'm repeating things that we already know. But man, just the first drives and God dang, this is a happy time to be a Dallas Cowboy fan. This is a special season. This is a special season. We're about to witness history this season. Think about that. Let that cement in your veins and allow that perspective to immerse you for a second. This is a special season. It's not one of those hype seasons how all Cowboy fans are saying, hey, this is the year, this is our year. No. As your unbiased and realistic Cowboys fan, I can safely say that you can go to work or school tomorrow and speak in confidence, walk in faith, not by sight, because the Dallas Cowboys have arrived. And I was sitting there watching games all day like everyone else. The Steelers got spanked. What I want to talk about is the 49ers. They made such an impressive stance because I think the Steelers are a tough physical team. Like you saw me talk about them in my NFL picks video. I think the Steelers are a physical team, always. They're coached by a great coach. But the 49ers, man, they slapped them around. And then the Eagles are the team that you talk about. They struggled against the New England Patriots. They started off pretty hot. But man, that game was too close for Philadelphia fans at the end. You were close to losing to Mac Jones. And then the Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, well, they got the best quarterback in the National Football League, but he doesn't have anyone to throw to at the moment. So believe me when I say this. The Dallas Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders. I can't believe those words are coming out of my mouth. It is what it is. And the time is now. Embrace it. Barring any injuries. But yes, the Dallas Cowboys are contending for a championship. They are here to finish what they started. And boy, oh boy, did they look like it tonight. Let's jump into some of the stats. Let's talk about this defense. First off, I predicted 2 interceptions. And guess what? I called it 2 interceptions, but I will admit I was wrong on who was going to get the interceptions. I thought Jordan Lewis was going to play. He was a full participant in practice all week long, but last second they pulled the plug and they said, hey, he's not going to play. He's a healthy scratch. We'll see what he can do next week. So I'm cool with that. Anyways, it wasn't Jordan Lewis, nor was it Jaron Kearse. In fact, let's talk about that first interception, baby. Deron Bland with the pick 6, but let's talk about Trayvon Diggs being physical. And that wasn't his only physical play, his only physical tackle. There was one later in the game where Hodgkins got the pass, he was running, and Trayvon Diggs knocked that ball out. For everyone that was criticizing number 7, well, I believe he heard you. He heard it while he was cashing the money bags from his contract extension that was next to his ears this offseason. But I think he heard you. He heard all of us. He showed up opening night. Now let me pause and talk about this for a second, because I know some of y'all are haters and you're coming here to watch this video and be like, look at this Cowboys fan, he's talking up game. Well, weren't you the same fans, weren't you the same football fans that were telling us all week long that the New York Giants were better than they actually were, and that they were a more talented team than they were last year, and they won a playoff game last year? We heard it all week long, but Cowboy fans that are plugged into this, that watch this team day in and day out and tune in, they knew, they sat back and they said, hey, let's just wait and see what happens. Now, I'll admit, you guys know me, my game prediction, I was 34-19. I thought the Cowboys were going to decisively win this game, but boy, oh boy, I didn't think it was going to be 40-0. But I had them besting the Giants by a good margin. But I'm putting that, we keep receipts here. We keep receipts. And I just wanted to point back. The Giants are a good team. They really had a bad night. But they are a good team. Hopefully they'll regroup and we'll see them again. That's the thing about division opponents, is we see them a second time and it's a totally different time the second time. So that's what I'll say. I'm really pumping up my team because I think they played great and it's a special time for us as fans. But for the Giants fans, don't worry. You do have a good team over there. But like I said in my pregame prediction video, it's just a bad time. It's a bad matchup. The Cowboys are better talent in terms of their roster than the Giants, and that's what we saw tonight. And the Giants really just had a really bad night. But back to the defense, man. 7 sacks. And you know what 7 is? Of course, it's the perfect number. It is the holy number. But 7 sacks, goodness gracious. Let's break it down and talk about who got a sack. Dorrance Armstrong has 2 sacks. We forgot to talk about. We haven't talked about Dorrance Armstrong quite a bit. So Dorrance Armstrong got 2 sacks. Micah Parsons got 1. I did predict he was going to get 2, and I think he may have gotten 2 at that beginning of the game where the fumble, Daniel Jones, the snap fell at his feet, and Michael Parsons got to him. So I wonder, that should have been counted as a sack in my opinion. But let's just say he has 1 sack officially on the books. Osa Odighizuwa, 2 sacks. Look, I know we're talking about Chris Jones. I know rumors is always going to be a thing in Dallas. But Jerry and Steven are saying, hey, we got our own Chris Jones, and he's a hell of a lot cheaper than what the league is paying Chris Jones. 2 sacks, in my opinion, and of course, this is totally up for debate, and you can comment down below. But I think, in my opinion, I think Osa Odighizuwa was the player of the game. He looked incredible. He was fast off the ball, not only in the pass rush with 2 sacks, but he was great in disrupting the run. He was a huge disruptor, and I'm really excited to see what this young player puts together on the season. And he put together a really good game tonight, and I really like the way he played. I thought he was a huge difference maker on the field in that defense, and he really stood out. DeMarcus Lawrence, the tank, booyah, got 1 sack. Chauncey Golston got a sack. Oh, snap. So 7 sacks. Obviously, the Cowboys lead the NFL in sacks. Of course, we got the Monday night game to still go through, but wow, just incredible night to get after the quarterback. And there's some names there that I did not mention that should have been there, because they're more often than not the people that are leading in sacks on the team. So that just shows you how deep we're running at the defensive line position when it comes to pressuring the quarterback. And of course, the interceptions, I thought it was going to be J-Ron Kearse. I thought it was going to be Jordan Lewis. Lewis didn't play. Kearse did not get an interception. It was Stephon Gilmore. Welcome to the Dallas Cowboys, and boy, does he look good in that 21. And Deron Bland picks up from his incredible rookie campaign, picking up in his sophomore year, had that pick 6 from that great play from Trayvon Diggs. Gilmore looked phenomenal, man. He was playing off the... He looked really great. He had a lot of pass deflections. He actually had 3, led the DB room with 3 pass deflections. Boy, oh boy, man, that's the kind of trade that really makes your team take that next step. Because you look at Stephon Gilmore, he's replacing a player like Anthony Brown. I'm not going to diss on Anthony Brown, but there is obviously a step of improvement when it comes to cornerback play when your cornerback 2 now is Stephon Gilmore. And according to the top players list, Stephon Gilmore is still one of the top players in the National Football League. So that was really great to see. Trayvon Diggs, no interceptions, but his presence was felt with physical play, with the forced fumbles, with some pass deflections. Just really an outstanding effort from this defense. And we've heard it said before, defense wins championships. But Mike McCarthy added something to that last season. He says, defense wins championships, but the Super Bowl is won by the quarterback. Let's jump into this offense, because I think this is where it gets interesting. Straightforward, Dak Prescott's stat line, 13 of 24, 143 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I had predicted he was going to go 19 of 30, 225 yards, so I'm 75 yards short there. I thought he was going to go 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. Thank God he didn't throw an interception, but there really was no need in this football game to be throwing the ball and passing it more than 25 times. And so 143 yards. I'm interested to know what you guys think about this offense to begin this season. To me, and of course I'm your unbiased and realistic Cowboys fan, I do believe they looked a little underwhelming. I thought they were a little bit stale. Now, there's a couple factors that do go into this, and I'm gonna, slow down my beat here, and I'm not gonna throw out wild accusations just yet, because it is week 1, and if the Cowboys lost this game, I would still be coming with that same approach, because it is week 1. But the Cowboys, their offense, the factors I believe were the rain. That's always going to affect rain with catching and throwing. We saw a lot of drops, unfortunately. And then also the other thing is the preseason. The absence of the starters in the preseason really shows in that first half. And that's something I talked about in my pregame prediction video, where I thought there was going to be some of that slow pace, where it was going to take a little bit to get acclimated to the game. And we saw that the first couple of drives. We saw them be able to, the defense put them in a really good position, but the offense wasn't able to capitalize and turn that into 7 points. They were only able to do it into 3 points. And it's only week 1, but I do want to put a marker on that, because this defense obviously is really going to give you a lot of opportunities. And this offense needs to cash in on them. They cannot be what they were last year. They need to be able to cash in on them. And at this point, I'm just going to say, there's no excuses. You have weapons now. So say if that defense plays the same way that they did tonight, and they almost played near that level in San Francisco in the divisional round, did we get a better effort and execution from the offense today that makes you think we're over the hump if we play a team like the San Francisco 49ers in the playoffs again? I want to put that question in your mind, because that's how I'm going to be thinking this entire season. It's not about playing the full season for me anymore. We know this team's going to go to the playoffs. We know this team can get back-to-back 12 wins in a season. But can this team close that gap and get those 2-3 more wins to get to the Super Bowl in the playoffs? And I'm looking at this offense, and of course you got to get acclimated. You got Brian Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator. You got Mike calling the plays. But there are some things that I saw tonight. And of course, the factors weighing in with the rain and preseason, but I was a little bit underwhelmed. I felt like the play call was slightly off in some moments. Like to start the game, there was that weird drive at the goal line where we passed it 3 straight times, where we didn't bother to at least run it once. And that was strange because Mike McCarthy really emphasized running the ball in the offseason. So to not be running the ball in that situation was a little bit of a head scratcher. But they did come back around to it in the second half where they had a really good drive and they ran the ball in the goal line situation again. So again, those are just concerns, questions that I had. I personally feel like there were some things, there was enough that I saw tonight that made me feel confident moving forward that this offense may be able to piece it together and not necessarily put up 40 points every single game, but be effective. I don't want high scoring games or anything like that. I just want effective football. I want effective situational football offensive play calling. And I think we got that towards the second half. And I feel like the offense put together enough to put on tape to show that there's some good things here. And I tweeted about it, and if you're not following me on Twitter or X, links are down below. But there are some things that I saw in terms of the play design and the route design that I thought were very much different than what we saw in the past few seasons with Kellen Moore. And those sort of things really help as the season progresses and really allows your playmakers, Brandon Cook, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, to be able to open up and have good games. The other thing that I found strange is I felt like they were forcing the issue sometimes to Jake Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot, and I get that Dak Prescott really likes that tight end spot. I mean, you look at his tight ends over the past few seasons, he really likes targeting the tight ends, Dalton Schultz, Jason Witten from a few years ago. And so I felt like that was a little bit forced, and I'm thinking, you know, like you got Tony Pollard, you got Gallup, you got Cooks, you got CeeDee Lamb, why are we targeting Jake Ferguson? Let's spread the ball around a little bit more. But again, I'm not going to get too critical on this night. There isn't really a lot to get critical about when you're talking about a 40-0 complete blowout against a division rival. And that's all I'll have to say. Tony Pollard ran for 14 times for 70 yards, had 2 touchdowns. We saw Turpin running from the backfield a lot. I thought Rico Dowdle looked really good coming out of the back, obviously with the running back 2 position still kind of in contest. And Deuce Vaughn came in for a little bit. Wasn't too effective, but at that time, you know, you're not running behind Zach Martin at that point. You're running behind other players. And then CeeDee Lamb had himself a quiet night. No touchdowns, but 4 receptions, 77 yards. And the ball was spread around quite a bit. You got Lamb, Cooks, Pollard, Turpin, Jake, Ferguson, and Michael Gallup. You got 6 different wide receivers that got completions. And if you throw in Peyton Hendershot, who dropped that touchdown, who Dak threw a dime at the goal line, then you put in 7 receivers. And I saw Dak get a little bit more confidence as the night went on. But I'm really interested to know what you guys thought about that situation. Obviously, the defense looked fabulous, and the special teams had that terrific play to start the night. But the offense at times looked a little bit stale, slow. You know, I think it's going to come up, and they really do have to figure whatever out. And they really do have to figure it out because you got the New York Jets coming into town next week, and we got to put up some points for that one. And so that's all I have to say about that. Just comment down below what you think about the offense. Again, I'm really interested to hear what you guys think about it. But guys, that's it. The Dallas Cowboys win on opening night on Sunday Night Football. And I have to apologize to NFL fans out there. You got some really good football, you know, in the early game and the 3 o'clock slot. And you got this complete blowout on live television. It is what it is. The Dallas Cowboys probably brought in a lot of viewership tonight. As we all know, they are America's team. So, when the Cowboys go 1-0, they get a must-win against a division rival because these division games come back and haunt you if you lose them early on. And so, to defeat a conference opponent in the NFC, to defeat a division rival, and the Giants, they're going to be fine. Giants fans, if you're somehow here wanting to hear from a Cowboys fan about this game, you guys are going to be fine. Just, you know, it was just a really bad night. But you have a good team. You can put it together. You can turn it around. It's only week 1. It's only week 1. But the Cowboys blow out the Giants 40 to 0 to move to 1-0. And next week we take on the New York Jets back at AT&T Stadium. But Cowboys Nation, comment down below, how do you feel about this win after week 1? And who was your player of the game? Comment down below, I want to know. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more Cowboys content. Follow me on all my social media platforms, and I'll see you guys later this week. Go Cowboys!